Hey there, everyone. It's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Now, the name of this video is going to be Spidey Rants Fairy Tale Edition. Contrary to popular belief, it's not going to be your typical rant. It's not going to be me going on a giant tirade, so I'm sorry to disappoint you right off the bat. But what I do want to say is this rant, if you will, is just to bring you some insights on what the story is, what fairy tale is about. This video or this audio, if you will contain manga spoilers, so I apologize in advance if you're listening and you get spoiled. It's gonna be about Mashima, his quotes, what the story is, and you're gonna know a bit about myself. So with that out of the way, let's talk about who I am. Well, if you're listening to this, you probably got a link to it via Discord or Reddit, the two places where I moderate fairy tale related content. For Reddit, I moderate the subreddit of fairy tale. For Discord, I moderate the Discord server of fairy tale. I'm not someone who's too shy away from his own opinion. If I think what you're saying is bullshit, then I'm gonna call you out on your bullshit. I'm just a regular man, a regular dude. Likes enjoying the series for what it is. Does it have flaws? Absolutely. Every series has flaws. But you know what? That doesn't take away. That doesn't negate the fact that I love the series so much. Now I'm gonna get into a brief history lesson of fairy tale. It's written by Hiro Mashima, creator of Rave Master, Monster Soul, and Monster Orage. It started in August 2nd of 2006, and to quote Mashima, it's supposed to be a lighter story compared to his previous work, Rave Master. Now, there's a couple of quotes that I want to get into. Some from 2008, others from 2011, 2016, and some from his recent volumes. So in 2008, he was in San Diego Comic Con, and he was asked how he would convince a reader to read the series. And this is what he said: "I guess I just want to encourage readers to just have fun with the series, fun reading the series, and not to think too deeply about it. Just come along with Natsu and enjoy the adventure." And for the most part, I would assume you'd agree. He's done that. He's given us a story where it's just adventure and fun. A second thing was when he was asked about how it varies or how it's different from Rave Master. And like I said above, he specifically states towards the end of Rave Master, the story was a little sentimental, a little sad. So I wanted to make a new story with lots of fun. The main difference is that in Rave Master, the goal was to save the world. In Fairy Tale, it's all about this guild of wizards, the jobs they have to do, and it's about their everyday lives. Over time, this might change, but that's for the fans to find out and continue reading this story. And like I said before, he stuck to this. It's fun. Has it changed? Has it deviated a bit? Sure, it has. But over the course of 11 years, it's been consistent with what he said in 2008. In 2011, Anime's News Network had an interview, and they asked him about the redemption theme, to which Mashima said, "Absolutely. However, I value life heavily, and that's something to keep in mind. Sometimes I depict where a character passes away, but then it turns out they actually hadn't. But I never draw someone who was actually already dead coming back to life. That's not something that I depict." Now, that changes with the last chapters of Fairy Tale because someone does die and they get brought back. But throughout the 11-year run, it's been just that. He's been consistent to what he's quoted as saying. In 2016, Kodansha, the publisher of Fairy Tale, asked Hiro how he came up with the world, to which he responded, "It actually goes back to the series I worked before on, Rave Master. In one episode, there was a scene where a group of guys are hanging out at a bar. That was so fun to draw. So I wanted to draw a manga with the feel of guys hanging out at a bar. I thought it'd be interesting to enter a world where characters have established relationships, like friendship. Usually a shonen manga starts with just the main character, who then accumulates his or her allies as the story progresses. But in the world of Fairy Tale, everyone pretty much knows each other at the beginning. That was sort of what I was going for. And we see this a lot. Even with side characters, we see the connection they have to the fairy tale guild, to the people. So, again, to repeat what I just said, Mashima has been consistent with what he's been saying for these last 11 years. In this year, I think May, when Volume 61 was released in Japan, the back cover had a Mashima excerpt, and it said, "The project started as a fun thing to do while feeling a bit adventurous, trying to solve various obstacles in the journey. But if I continued doing just that for a long time, I would get tired. So I started including a variety of things. Since my previous work was quite a heavy story, I remember thinking to myself that I wanted to go a bit light this time. And you see that. With Rave Master, there was a lot more grim and darkness and edge, if you will. With Fairy Tail, even with Tartaros, and not even the recent arc, because it wasn't as dark as people made it out to be. But even with Tartaros, the series overall was one of hope, one of happiness, one of joy. And like I said, for the last 11 years, Mashima's been saying what his series is. And for the last 11 years, people have been complaining about what his series is when he said it, what it is. So, with all that out of the way, let's start. I want to emphasize that these opinions are of my own, not anyone else's. This means those who do the Social Weekly podcast with me, Soma, Shadow, Misi Moose, the people who edit them, edit the videos, Doc, Walk, all of them, they don't feel the same way or may not even agree. But these opinions, like I keep saying, like I'm gonna say, are my own. The, and much like these ridiculous and just foolish and naive and idiotic and asinine and whatever other beautiful adjective you want to throw in critics on YouTube, I won't sugarcoat my opinion on what I feel about them or their thoughts. This isn't to gain subscribers because I don't really care for that. This is just me expressing my opinion and my annoyance, if you will. So the first thing we was ask ourselves is, it's something that we never do. We never ask ourselves, why do we read fairy tale? Is it to rant and whine like Axel? Is it to constantly bash the series like it's your sexual fetish that gets you going like chibi reviews? Or is it, or are you someone who likes the series but still gives you clickbait, inaccurate titles like For Never World? Are you someone who just likes following the hate crowd and the circle jerk? Whatever the case, most vocal fans, the fans that are always the angriest, are just stupid. Just plain stupid. Now I know what you're saying. That's a bit harsh. But what are we supposed to call them when they expect something to happen that Mashima has not mentioned, teased, or shown interest in doing? For example, Natsu and Lisano. There's little, if any, reference to it. People still expect it to happen. That's just stupid. That's just stupid. Like, I don't know what other word to say, but it's stupid. And then you have, like I mentioned above, these people who just, I guess it's their sexual fetish to just circle jerk the hate, like Chibi, and people listening to their reviews like if it's fact. I mean, besides lowering your IQ, those videos are inaccurate. So I wouldn't, if I was you, I wouldn't listen or do any of that stuff with their content because, it's biased and inaccurate. It's like if I started talking about One Piece and said, well, it's just Dragon Ball Z rip off because Luffy is basically Majin Buu, which of course is probably wrong because I don't keep up with the series, don't really care for the series. So why the fuck am I gonna say something when it doesn't mean shit? So that's just a bit of it. Look, is Fairy Tail rewriting the wheel on what a shonen should be? No, God no. We know this. The fans, the haters, the casual reader, they all know this. But did Mashima ever say he was trying to rewrite the wheel? That he was trying to make something groundbreaking? No. Like I said in the beginning, Fairy Tail will end on its 11th year run of publication. It never did anything groundbreaking. It never did anything of shock value. It just stayed the course, stayed consistent. It reminds me of something, Fairy Tail had fun, like F is for friends who do stuff together. U is for you and me. N is for anywhere, anytime at all down here in the deep blue sea. Like SpongeBob, it just had fun. It knew what it was. It didn't try to change the course of what it was, and it had fun. Cannot emphasize that enough. Fun. Look, is that a bad thing that it's trying to have fun and trying to be what it set out to be? It shouldn't be. Let's make this comparison. The general movie audience, they love these blockbusters, these superhero movies. Well, truth be told, we already know the beginning, the middle, and the end. We know in the beginning, if it's for the first movie in a series, the beginning is how they get their powers. The middle is when they start fighting the bad guy, but don't succeed. The ending is when they defeat the bad guy and potentially tease something if it's a Marvel film. So, does that mean the movie is shit because we know what's gonna happen? No, and you're a fucking idiot if you think it does. Like the biggest one around. Like you make Trump look like Einstein. That's how stupid you are if you believe that. So the point I'm just trying to make here is just because Fairy Tail is an original doesn't mean it's bad. So just keep that in mind when you're reading Fairy Tail and when you're hearing people talk about it. Originality doesn't mean it's great. It just means it's original. Doesn't mean it's good. Doesn't mean it's bad. Another thing I want to talk about, and I mean I'm gonna get technical here, but something I know that is gonna be in the comment section on the Discord or on the YouTubes or wherever. Spidey Hero said nothing. Don't give me that bullshit. You know why? Because I just quoted Hiro Mashima on what he wanted his story to be. And this is where I'm gonna start delving into manga spoilers. So I'm sorry. So this gives you a chance to either skip forward or stop listening to the video. Your call. Thanks for listening if you leave. Um, but some people are gonna say, well, he didn't have the balls to kill Gagio, Juvia, or Lucy. Well, no, he didn't. He didn't have the balls to kill Gagio. Sure, Juvia was never confirmed dead. She just looked like she fainted. Lucy, well, technically, future Lucy did die, so I don't know where the fuck you're coming from if you're thinking Lucy didn't die. But one thing I want to go back to that I said at the beginning of the video that I'm gonna keep referring to, Mashima said, "I value life." So no, he's not gonna kill off characters for the sake of killing off characters, and that doesn't mean the story isn't any deeper or any better just because he's not killing people. I mean, Walking Dead kills a shitload of people, and it's kind of garbage. Look, Hiro Mashima felt so bad, had so much remorse in killing Seaheart and Ravemaster that's the reason why Jalal is in Fairy Tail. So why in God's green earth do you expect him to kill or do something he wouldn't do and regrets on doing? Does that make any sense to you? It's like if you watch, let's say you go to watch any Power Rangers movie. It's pretty good. I recommend it. But you're expecting some 12 Years a Slave type of script where the script is amazing. I mean, really? Is that what you're expecting from a movie that you should know is a blockbuster? I just don't know what to tell you. But and if we do want to get technical, the only tease death was technically Gajil, but that was kind of reversed because Irene used Universe 1 against Acnologia. But hey, I guess I'm the only one paying attention to the story. And then one thing that I know people are salty about, because like I said, I run these forums. Well, he didn't kill Makarov. That ruins the sacrifice. What? How the fuck does that ruin the sacrifice? Now, look, this is gonna be a two-part answer to this comment. So if you have the IQ of Donald Trump, or the IQ level of Donald Trump, you might get lost. So take notes. Look, the characters that knew about Makarov's death and who it had the most impact on were Wendy, Urza, Gray, and Natsu. When Urza stopped Natsu and Gray from fighting, and then when freaking Urza told Wendy about Makarov no longer being alive. How does his sacrifice get diminished by him coming back to life? Doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. If anything, it shows you how much of a badass Makarov was, using fairy law like a BAMF and killing, like, what is it, 70% of the entire Spriggan army? I mean, that's pretty badass. That is pretty fucking badass. He didn't care about the toll it will take on his life. He just used it because, you know what, he's like, these are my children. So boom, fairy law up in your bitch ass. So that's part one. Now, the bigger issue here is that there's these manga stream, Yonko Productions, and even people who translate and upload to them. These are just, say it with me, fan translations. What does that mean? It means they could have used Google for all you know. They could have spun it in their own way. They could have done whatever. Doesn't mean that they're true or accurate. In some cases they could be, but in some cases they can't. For instance, and I'm gonna focus on manga stream since they're the more popular one and the one that's more known. When Irene and Ethnologia fought in, what is it, chapter 489, 490, when she used the universe one, they gave this this dialogue between Irene and Ethnologia some sexual tension. It looked like the fucking Irene was from Sex and the City with all the shit she was saying. She aims to please men, like, homie, we know Irene's a badass, she wouldn't say that. And then they gave Bradman, aka Bloodman, aka whatever the fuck you want to call him, Shovel Knight, I call him personally. They gave him some Shakespearean style roleplay dialect. Thou. Where is thou? No, motherfucker, it ain't Shakespeare. I don't think Mashima would write a character to be Shakespearean. That's just me though. And they've done other things, but those are the main ones. And then we have scanlations from Yonko. Yeah, he's my boy. He's my boy. I know you could ask him if you don't believe me, but he's still new to this translations and all that. And while they are the closest to the Crunchyroll translations at times, his translators sometimes miss something here or there. Nothing major, but it does change the way it's perceived in the story. And the biggest problem, is that with all these fan translations, because that's what they are, fan translations, is that they get taken as gospel, and mostly manga stream, because they're the biggest. They get taken as gospel and set out to be canon. I mean, you would not believe the amount of hate the Irene and Urza fight got, because in the manga stream translation, Urza said her bones were shattered, and in the Crunchyroll, which is the official Kodansha sponsored translation, she said it broken. Now, if someone has a shattered bones, would you feel that it's greater? It's a greater damage to the character than broken bones? Because if you say broken bones, it doesn't seem like it's as bad. You say shattered bones, you're like, oh shit, this person's done for. That was a huge difference, and that played a huge part. And when with Makarov, while the translations were somewhat similar, the Crunchyroll translations made it apparent that the death of Zareth and Mavis resulted in Harry Fairy Heart being released and Makarov being given his life back. Is it the worst thing in the world? No, there's a lot of things that are worse in the world than this shonen that's based on cliches, tropes, having fun. But people saw it as that. I mean, we've been we've had these plot points stated since God knows when, and people are still surprised, people are still angry, and it's just amazing. Doesn't make sense to me, but it's just amazing. I'm gonna I'm gonna give another reference. Marvel's The Avengers. Same thing happens. Agent Coulson, Phil, he dies. The team unites. The Avengers unite, and they defeat Loki. And this is exactly what happens in Fairy Tale. Makarov dies, granted not to stop acting stupid, not to defeat Zareth, but the difference is it wasn't seen as bullshit when Marvel did it, but it's seen as bullshit when Fairy Tale and Mashima did it. I mean, what's a better explanation? For Fairy Tale, it was, Fairy Heart, the magic amplifier, it brought Makarov back to life. Or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.'s explanation of Coulson coming back, which was Tahiti for most of a season, which is more bullshit. Tahiti or something that's been stated throughout the series to be a magic amplifier, and we know that for wizards, if having magic in their body is their source of life, which is why Makarov mentioned in Tenor Island that Natsu was potentially dead when he lost all his magic when he was fighting Zankro. Again, Mashima has referenced all these things before in his manga. Marvel literally just said Tahiti and people accepted it like, I guess it's fine. I'm mad. You should be because it's like pretty bad explanation, but that's fine. Look, uh, there's I don't even know how to continue because this is just infuriating to me. It really is. Mashima tells us what the series' most overpowered magic, most overpowered force, what to expect, and we still, as a fan base, feel entitled. We whine, we complain, and we rant that it's just shit writing. To quote Tropic Thunder, never go full I mean, never go full stupid. Try to keep just PG-13 at least. There are plenty more examples like this. Like, everybody and their mom, if they read Fairy Tale, of course. Mine does, sometimes. Um, they said, well, the Dragon Slayers are supposed to fight Acnologia. Tell me. I will wait. I will buy you 7 manga volumes if you show me where in the manga it specifically states that the Dragon Slayers were supposed to fight Acnologia. Not just Natsu, the Dragon Slayers. All 7 of them. That means the 5 from the past and the 2 which are Lux and Cobra. Um, so while I wait a few seconds, oh, that's right. There's no source. There's no evidence to that. But people still say it's supposed to happen. I mean, we have chapters like 415, 465, and there's other chapters that I forgot to mention that state that the Dragon Slayers are nothing more than a vessel for the dragons to go to the future. Nothing more than a vessel. They didn't care if they learned their magic. They taught them the magic, but they were used as a vessel to get them to year 777. But whatever. And the reason why, and I'm gonna go back to this, the reason why they wanted to go to year 777 is because of the ether nano they wanted to consume in order to defeat Acnologia. So it wasn't the Dragon Slayers that were supposed to defeat Acnologia, it was the dragons. The dragons. Grandine, Igneo, Vice Logia, whatever the fuck the ghost one, the shadow one is, and Metalicana. I don't know if I said the name right. Forgive me. Point is, they were the reason. They were the ones who were supposed to fight Agnologia, not the Dragon Slayers. Also, one thing I want to point out is, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but Agnologia is a Dragon Slayer. So, how the fuck are Dragon Slayers gonna defeat Another Dragon Slayer has been shown to be overpowered. I mean, Agnologia's entire magic is basically eating all magic. How in the hell do they expect the Dragon Slayers to fight him? And then, I have to bring this up, of course. When Ichigo quote unquote defeated Agnologia, people lost their shit. I mean, really, you people really believe that Ichigo was the one who was gonna defeat Agnologia? When Mashima said in the interview during the Dragon Cry press that he had he was crying at the emotional way he just drew a character leaving, did y'all really expect it was Ichigo? Like really a main character and you expected it to be Ichigo? Really? Y'all just disgust me. You really do. It was so why did he get rid of Acnologia then? I'm sure some of you are asking. He wanted to focus on Zeref. And if you've noticed, once Acnologia was gone, we got most of the focus on Zeref and Natsu's fight and the relationship between Mavis and Zeref. So I don't get what the big deal was. I mean, everybody overreacted, like, "Oh my God, he's gone. We're gonna have an entire volume of afterward and epilogue." Like, if that's a bad thing, I mean, that'd be pretty dope. That's a Nalu. That I'm okay with that. But it wasn't gonna happen. We knew Agnologia wasn't dead. Like, one thing I want to emphasize is Anna said that nothing could live inside the Neo Eclipse. How did she know that? Did she just speak out of her behind? Pretty sure she did because she didn't. How was she supposed to test that? Did she just throw somebody in there? Hey, you wizard, here, come over here. Boom. Did he just throw him? No, we don't know how she. We've seen characters before do that. Arcadio said that Zeref made Agnologia. Hades, Jalal, and I forgot. The Oracion says Zero. They said Zeref was dead and they wanted to resurrect him. Yeah, Zeref was just chilling in Tenro, right there with his hands behind his back, just chilling, enjoying the breeze. But we expected it to be like some all-knowing prophet. Come on, people, we're better than this. It's not rocket science. It's just focusing and paying attention at what the series is doing. Like Mashima said, don't overthink it. Don't. And if he didn't say something, don't expect it to happen. Like I need to emphasize that even more because we still do that. We see something happens. Well, this is gonna happen next chapter because we don't know that. And the more we try to stick it in our heads that it is, the more likely we are to be disappointed. You guys, we need to get our shit together. If nitpicking and taking fan translations as gospel isn't bad enough, we have these fans, and I'm using that word very loosely. That say, well, in One Piece, in My Hero Academia, in X series, that didn't happen. I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna keep it real simple for y'all. No shit. Why on earth would Fairy Tail try to be something it hasn't been? Why? Why would it do that? It wouldn't. No two series by two different mangaka will be the same. Now let's entertain this idea, this notion that there is a possibility that they are the same. Well, some series will be successful and others will fail. That's the sad reality of it. The one that does it better will succeed. The one that does it worse won't. Look, and I'm gonna keep going back to superhero movies because they're the ones that relate the most to this. Um, we know the beginning, we know the middle, and the end. But that doesn't mean that the stories are the same. Doesn't mean each character is gonna have the same origin story. Doesn't mean each character is gonna have the same struggle. So that's one. Another thing we gotta keep in mind is that this series is for young boys in their teens. So no, death, gore, violence, all that stuff. It isn't necessary and it isn't a requirement for a series like that. I mean, it's weekly shown in Jump, weekly shown in magazine. Well, magazine is where Mashima publishes Fairy Tail, but we have Shonen Jump as well that had stuff like Dragon Ball Z and all that. One Piece, My Hero Academia, Shokugeki, etc., etc. So, I mean, why do we have these expectations that aren't going to be met? Do we go to summer blockbusters expecting it to have Oscar level writing? Have you gone to a Fast and the Furious movie expecting it to be like the most amazing thing in the world writing wise? Really? Because if you have, you're just stupid. I mean, I've never seen one, but I could tell you from the trailers alone that there is nothing of substance there. You go because of the characters, you go because of the fun. You don't go because of the writing. My God, if you go for the writing, then I'm gonna just send you my writing, and so I could be praised by you. The best way to describe fairy tale is simply a fairy tale, a story. It's something blessed with unusual happiness. A story whose characters aren't entirely relatable, whose main protagonist, Lucy, is a significantly underpowered wizard as opposed to her friends Urza, Wendy, Natsu, who's her bae, and I guess Grace. She's relevant somehow. And that's okay. I guess the heart of this rant and the thing I want to emphasize is the fan expectations are already skewed and altered by ignorant YouTubers who don't understand the moral of the theme, what fairy tale is, and what it set out to be. It's ridiculous. And no, before I get any of this bullshit, I'm not saying Majima hasn't had his shortcomings. For God's sake, he has. You know, and I've said this before, Natsu versus Gray's rivalry has been atrocious. He made Gajio a better rival in about 2 chapters than he has Gray in an entire series. The Gray versus Natsu subplot in Alvarez was worse than the Gray versus Natsu subplot in the Daphne filler arc for the anime. That's one of many of the inclusion of side characters or the lack thereof of those who aren't related or associated to Fairy Tail in some way is another shortcoming. The way he depicts certain characters and their motivations. I mean, Acnologia has had zero development. So it's not like Mashimo isn't a flawed writer, but he doesn't set out to be perfect. I mean, at least he's not the guy from Fuka who said Fuka is a masterpiece. Spoiler alert, Fuka is shit. Look, to expect something like a Fairy Tail Guild member, the Fairy Tail Guild, or anyone to die, the one magic to be anything other than love, or to expect that the 7 Dragon Slayers are going to fight another Dragon Slayer in Agnologia. While that one, the last one, may be the most plausible, it's still highly unlikely. Where look, where has Fairy Tail in its close to 11-year run shown to do anything that it hasn't done? Nowhere. Why in the hell would we as a fan base expect differently? I just don't get it. No, and for those who say, well, you could just turn off your brain when you're watching Fairy Tail or reading Fairy Tail, you're a fucking idiot. You're one of the reasons there's all these problems with these fans. No, you don't turn off your fucking brain. It means Mashima. That gets me the maddest, honestly. It means expect Mashima to tease you, but and make things happen later on. But he won't beat you over the head with explanations. If he mentions it once, he expects you to be smart enough to know what he's doing, to know what he did, You know what he's referencing? And the perfect example of this is Tower of Heaven. We know Urza lost her eye. Her new eye is artificial. Means remember she couldn't cry for the longest time until the end of Tower of Heaven when Natsu carried her bridal style. Urza versus Kyoka. So when she's fighting Kyoka and she could move because she could see where Kyoka was, Mashima wasn't gonna beat you over the head with, remember that time where she did it in Tower of Heaven and against Midnight in Oración 6? Remember that time? No. Mashima does a lot of show, but very little tell. He expects the audience to have some sort of mental capacity to remember that. And I guess that's his fault because he has some respect for the audience when he shouldn't. When half the shit you're saying is so ridiculous that it's it's just it boggles my mind. Um, like I said, this rant was a lot more formal than I wanted it to be, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people expected more, a more actual rant, if you will, from me. But I had to change things up. If I just battled stupid with stupid, well then that just make us like Trump. We can't do that. I hope you enjoyed it. I might continue these, or I could just be like chibi reviews and take right the fairy tale hate, get a bunch of subscribers, and just fucking masturbate to the hate, because I'm pretty sure that's what chibi does. I might show some variety with the videos I start doing, because like I said, fairy tale, while flawed, it is a very fun series. I ain't a one trick pony like chibi. So anyway, gracias y adios.